Hello, so I was on Thingiverse and I have these batteries, 18650s, which a lot of hobbyists collect or find in laptops. And when you love batteries, you just keep them. So here, I want to show you the best solution I found for storing them. I printed these out. They're by a person named Xfire, link in the description. I did not make them, but they hold 13 batteries with these cells, and it's better to print them at 103% scale so that it's not so tight of a fit. I actually damaged the plastic lining on some of these. Pull it out, show you, like there, or all that. That's disgusting. That's not what you want to see on the battery. And if it's too tight, it might become more than cosmetic damage to the battery, to the cell. So these are 13 batteries long, and they print at 103% PETG, fit in well. You print two of them and put them on like that. It'll hold all the cells together, and he makes them available in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12, and 13 cells. So you have a lot of customization there. About 2 minutes later, I've loaded the remaining cells. There's one extra here. I had 14, not 13, but it doesn't matter. My printer can only handle 13 long anyways, and I don't want to print these diagonally because sometimes that creates artifacts, at least in my prints. So if you just push it down like this, it seals up against. It's really snug. I'm amazed at how good this design is. There you go, you've got a bank. Now what I'll be doing to actually use these, or to say charge them, monitor that they're all good in storage because I don't have current use right now, is solder a little point like I've done on these. And because I know that you're not supposed to solder them, it overheats the batteries, but can't afford a spall iron, I'm gonna solder them, cut myself a little piece of cable, red for the positive, just solder about 1 inch on each tab, positive and negative. And then if I ever want to solder stuff to that or check it, I'll solder to that. So I have one wire, 1 inch long, silicone, high quality, that will just leave permanently attached to each cell, positive and negative sides. So here I've cut out my 1 inch or so, slightly longer pieces of wiring. It's silicone 20 gauge, rated for 1.5 amps continuous. So considering that these batteries are at best 1C, that means one time their rating in milliamp hours, and they're all in between 1 to 1,000 watt. Sorry, from 1,000 to 1,500 milliamp hours, that they can all transmit 1 to 1.5 current in amps. So these wires, 20 gauge is perfectly suited, and I like how small it is, and because it's silicone, it's also durable. So it's just tinning it up now. You gotta have your iron at the right temperature. That's key. I found that this works pretty well for when you're soldering to the gigantic ground plane that is these batteries. Pro tip. Alright, so here you've soldered everything. Took about, what took the longest was tinning the wire leads and cutting them to length, and the actual soldering at the correct temperature is fast. Still took me maybe 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes per battery, even though I was doing it in groups. So there you go. Now I've gone through all of them. They're all at 3.8 volts except for this one, which is at 4.08. So I'll put this one on storage on my LiPo charger and then move it back. And here is the end result. It does not weigh much more than it did with just the individual cells. The wire is obviously very light, and the PETG here, I think it was about 30 cents each for me to print electricity and material. So I'm not doing the math right now, but very little material compared to how big it is. Like, these are just walls. There's no infill because that's where the batteries go. And I'll be storing mine like this, in the chimney, so the positives and the negatives can't physically touch, And if the positives touch each other and the negatives touch each other, that's not a problem because the batteries are all at the same voltage anyways, and both the negative and the positive would have to touch at the same time for the battery to be put in parallel and to actually have both cells act as one, which is unlikely since I'll be storing them like this. Thing I would recommend is once you get used to it, add a little bit of flux before soldering and make your solder points small, like here. The big ones take a long time to heat up and I could almost like feel the batteries getting damaged. I would touch down here and it was hot. These last ones I did, I could touch down here. Now it was warm but not hot, so much better result already. And you don't need much solder to conduct an amp and a half. This solder joint right here, if you don't include the battery, don't include the wire, just the solder, you could probably run 10 amps through that and not have any issues for like years. Well, there we go. Don't solder like these bottom ones. Try to solder like these top ones. They're much better. And I could clean the flux up, or I'll probably just leave it there. I don't feel like doing that tonight. Side note, I've got one extra cell here, and in the meantime, before I 3D print another one of these storage containers, I'd like to protect against short circuits. And so you take masking tape, cut out a square of it, just put it on the positive and the negative, and that's the cheapest, most effective way I found of doing it. Don't even need to go for electrical tape, just normal painter's tape, masking tape.